actually, don't mind, we'll keep it like this.
Okay.
Y'all bear with us for a second. We're gonna get started in a minute here. Hold on one second. All right, no sweat. You ready up?
Come.
All right, no sweat. This is the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. All right. All right, good to go. Boom, boom. Y'all let me know if y'all can hear me. We taking questions online as well. If you can hear me, put a 1 in the chat. If you can't hear me, put a 10 in the chat. All right. Milwaukee is a city, right? that has a deep, deep history. And the history with Milwaukee has been suppressed. I know y'all remember the riots that happened in Milwaukee. It happened and then it was overlooked. Not understanding why it was overlooked. Milwaukee is a city that, in my opinion, has a population of blacks and Hispanics. And with what I've gathered, I understand that this population of black people and Hispanic people have been oppressed to the T.
Right.
And they've been thrown into a community in a very explosive environment. This environment is conducive to drugs, murder, black on brown, black on black violence, brown on black violence. But the number one thing that I do know for sure is the problem with Milwaukee is the so-called Christian church and the leadership.
Right.
The leadership, the black and brown leadership in Milwaukee is not adequate enough. They're not trained enough. They're not disciplined enough. They're not skilled enough. And they do not love black and brown people enough.
That's right.
They do not. And they're really about money. So the first scripture I want to grab before I break down the reason why, and tonight we're going to talk about Amber Geiger, the brother of Botham John, who hugged Amber Geiger, the judge that hugged Amber Geiger, and the bailiff that stroked her hair.
Right.
We're going to talk about why that is that even happened. You understand? We're also going to talk about the sister Atiana Jefferson, if I'm not butchering her name, who was murdered by another police officer down in Fort Worth, Dallas, Texas. You understand? And then, you understand, we're going to talk about segregation. We're going to talk about how to really love each other, how to really forgive each other. The act that you saw on TV live, tens of thousands, now even millions, the nation has heard that black people will forgive whoever murdered us.
That's right.
And I'm here to tell you right now, that is a lie. We will not forgive. You understand? We want justice. That's exactly what we want. And if we don't get it, there will be a very big problem with the actual nation of blacks and Hispanics. Not the ones that you see on social media. Not the ones that you see that have been propagandized into loving everybody and everything when it makes zero sense to do so. These people are, we call, miseducated or undereducated people or fools who have been put out there for you to see to make foolishness rub off on you. Well, Milwaukee, we tired of that crap. That's over with. You understand? Under commanding General Yahanna, a black man who actually is the leader, the number one leader for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, he gave me the task of going to Milwaukee under Captain Milwaukee as well, who runs the entire Midwest under commanding General Yahanna. I've been tasked with this great opportunity to happily come and serve my people by standing up to white supremacy.
Right.
And it's easy for me to do, but it's a hard job, you understand, when you played with nothing but whores and drugs and this lifestyle, this facade that you see, and every black man aspires to grow up to be a football player, basketball player, or a rapper. And that's your way out. Hell, even your doctors and your rich pastors and everything like that, you would think that is counter, you know what I'm saying, productive when it comes to, when you start thinking about these ball players and these sellout Negroes who rap. And the only thing that they rap about, honestly, is what? How to take another man's woman. Well, in the Israelite school, I.S.U.P.K, we teach how to not take another man's woman.
Right.
We teach how to avoid the prison system. We teach how to avoid the gangs and join your army. I'm not talking about a gang. The Israelite school, I.S.U.P.K is not a gang. We have no affiliation whatsoever with the Black Moorish Science Temple,
right,
with Louis Farrakhan and the FOI.
Right.
We have nothing to do with the so-called Christian church. We do not deal in religion at all. My job, my name is Officer of 5,000 DeBar Moth. I'm over Milwaukee. Anybody in Milwaukee that thinks that they got a better, greater, higher knowledge and a better program to fix blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians need to come challenge me.
Right.
Straight up. Come challenge me so I can show you that you've been flawed for so long and your outlook on life is so obscure that you don't even understand that you coming up against your ancestors. You coming up against the God of old that has always been for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians since the inception of time. Since we came into existence, there was one God who loved the nation of Israel. And that's who so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians were before we were called savages, before we were called niggers, before we were called wetbacks. We were called the children of Israel, meaning the sons of God or the sons of the power. And my objective is to wash the Christianity off of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Because what we have been taught for centuries in America is what you saw when that judge hugged that murderer. You saw the culmination of what John 3:16, the misinterpretation of John 3:16 can do to a person. And let me help you understand. On the contrary, it's so insane to not cry for justice and really, really mean it. Meaning, what we're doing is we're upset that we die. We're appalled that we die. And when I say die, I mean that we're murdered with no justice served all throughout America. And if you do history on the police force in America, they go back to an organization or a fraternal group of men who were hired to capture slaves. That's what they go back to. You understand? If you are not a slave, or you want to learn how to not be a slave, and you hear my voice right now, and you're in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, you should give me a call.
Right.
There's more to life than just basketball. There's more to life than sports, entertainment. You can do better than this, straight up. And you need a strong leader like Commanding General Yahanna that's going to tell you how to get that done.
That's
You understand? You need to be led on certain things, and we're going to go into those tonight. But that's my introduction to you, Milwaukee. If you've never seen us downtown on Wisconsin Avenue, then you'll see us a lot more. If you haven't seen us around the city of Milwaukee, then I can guarantee you'll see us more. And anybody who's in Milwaukee should share this. And then, like I said, if there's questions online, any questions online, feel free to ask. And we'll get to them. You understand? We'll get to your questions online, and that won't be nothing. But right now, let me see something. All right. This has to be, let me see. Yeah, okay, no sweat. Now let's talk about a little bit. Let's talk about the story. You got this story? Yeah, come. Let's get this. Nah, you got the stories right here. Let's get the stories that you got right there. And then at the end, we'll talk about the Black Panthers. Because what the Black Panthers tried to do, they attempted to do was very, very noble and admirable. But nevertheless, you know what they did, right? They integrated with the same people that murder us every day. And I know it seems like that's the move that we should make, but a real leader, you understand, is what we need. When you get it, read it.
So I say, which one you want first?
Give me the judge.
Come.
And give me this spineless Christian leader of Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians It is so damn disgusting. Go ahead.
Con. A Dallas judge said Monday she would not and could not refuse.
She could what?
She would not and could not refuse.
Good night. Almost. Good night. She would not and could not refuse. Go ahead.
Giving a hug and a Bible to the former police officer she had just sentenced to 10 years behind bars.
Good night. She couldn't refuse. Like, it's something in her that compelled her to want to do it. Have you ever seen an example of, or heard of an example of coonery? Like, Stockholm Syndrome really is what you would call coonery today. And it's what sellout black people do when slavery has overcome them and they've succumbed to slavery. Then it's this mentality. If you can't beat them, join them, right? And when you join them, beat them, no matter what. And that's exactly what she did. You ever heard someone say that back in the days, slaves would be so mentally beat down? And even ones who had a high position amongst black people at that time, like being a slaver or a bailiff over prisons or a CO or something like that. Those people, like the prime example I can give you is off the movie Life. Off the movie Life, that black man that held that shotgun who was prepared to murder any of his brothers that dare escape and get freedom from a system that murders and mistreats and emasculates black men every single day. Now, have you ever heard when a slave owner or our oppressors, the so-called white man, our oppressors are sick and the Negro slave says, not you're sick, but we sick? Meaning the slave could be healthy. I'm talking about 100% healthy as a bull. And the slave master or the oppressor is ill to the point where it looks terminal. So the slave comes to the master and says, Master, we sick. We sick. This is the mentality that has been engraved and embedded into the DNA of black people. And
right.
Even when you get some type of a success in America, you cannot escape that if not without the Israelite school of I.S.U.P.K.
That's right.
It's the only way. The woman that hugged her was a judge. A judge that just sentenced this woman as to prison time, which was not even a just judgment in prison time, because it was another black man who killed a police dog that was trying to kill him. An animal. He killed an animal. You understand? And got 45 years in prison. That's his entire life. That's it. It's done. You're done. For protecting yourself against an animal. You mean to literally tell me that the life of a canine, an animal, a subhuman, is more important and more protected and more emotionally and compassionately, you understand, above a black man in America today? Is that what you want us to understand? Because that's exactly what we understand. We understand that we are less than an animal. We're less than a beast. And now, today, they don't have to tell you. They don't have to tell you that you're an animal, you're a monkey, you're a nigger, you're a coon, you're a spick, you're a pickaninny, you're a beast, you're a dog. They don't have to tell it to us. All they have to do is show us examples. And this is one of the greatest examples in Milwaukee. It's about time to stop living like a goddamn dog.
Right.
Because the more you live like a dog in Milwaukee, the more police brutality we're going to have to endure out here. And I know right now, it seems like there's no way out. I'm telling you straight up, it seems that way. until you see these hardcore niggas that I'm rolling with.
That's right.
These niggas is the baddest ones on the planet. And we are actually the forerunners before the Black Panther movement. You understand? We were the ones and still are the ones. And the reason why you never understood it is because we never compromised or gave way to the society of our oppressors, which means the only public public examples that you'll get from us, anything that'll be publicized or put out there or pumped out there in the media, is going to be something negative about the Israelite School E.P.K, about a black Hebrew Israelite. And a lot of you out there have become the enemy and ain't even getting paid for it. So many people out there mock the Hebrew Israelites for standing on something that your leaders have never ever stood on before in their life. And then when we die and we riot in the street, they sell you out. They sell you out and hand you over freely to these oppressors, man, to show you how much that you mean to them. And your family never heals. And you never get compensation for the losses that you endure. And guess who does? Your leaders. And they live a way better lifestyle than you do. And you better not even ask for the pastor to pay your light bill 4 months in a row because you've been paying your tithe to wicked men. Well, the same way Christ came to take that seat from the men who was the Sadducees and the Pharisees, that's exactly what we doing. And in a minute, it won't be a game no more. You know, those Power Rangers who always yelling on the corner and ain't got a job, and you know, the ones that you love to hate, we will be in rulership very soon.
That's right.
Over our people. And then over the world. Guess what? This American country that you love so much, it was built off of those exact fabrics that I just mentioned. George Washington and his comrades stood on the street corners and screamed at people. And everybody thought they were fools. But then there were some people who were actually smart enough to shut your damn mouth and listen to what he's saying. And it's a commonality amongst all of the so-called oppressors that if you listen, then you will hear that George Washington was talking about being free and gaining freedom and fighting for freedom from their oppressors. And their oppressors were the people that were in Britain. And the British Empire were taxing them and putting crazy, what's the word I'm looking for? Tariff. They were using a crazy system to oppress so-called white people in America, and they wanted freedom. And it sounded like it was a joke and a game, and these are fools, and look how they dress, and look how they talk, and they scream, and they come here every damn week, and they do the same thing. Yeah, I know. And then the same people who signed the Declaration of Independence that everybody in America loves were those same goddamn idiots who were with George Washington, talking against, fighting, and galvanizing an army out of the people who still wanted to be under British rule. The people who still wanted to be under British rule were your common black, Hispanic, and Native Indian people as you know them today. The people who hate what we come out and say when we say separate away from America. Take your spirit out of what America loves. You look at us like we're dumb. As long as you've been doing it, what have you gotten in repayment except for murder and injustice? Your land gets taken away from you, Native Indian and Hispanic. They build a wall, call you a super predator, black man, call the Mexican man a damn rapist, and you still smile in their face and they show you how much they love you. But you such a damn sucker and you so weak that all they got to do is, but I love you. I have black friends and I have Mexican friends and I don't hate anybody and blah, and your stupid ass will listen to it. You're so gullible, which means that you need a leader. That's what that means. That means you need a leader that makes harder decisions for you than you can for yourself. And you show the world that you do not care about your race. You care about every other race, and you only love your goddamn self. And being selfish in America ain't gonna get it, Akwatian, which means brothers and sisters. It ain't gonna get it, man. Milwaukee can turn, it can change, man. The Lord sees Milwaukee and wants the people in Milwaukee, at least a handful of people in Milwaukee that'll stand up and fight against America. He wants you. It ain't gonna be easy though. It's easier for you to eat pork and smoke weed and be a whore and go out and dance in the most scantily clad outfits that you can find. It's easier for you to sag your pants and wear all the jewelry in the world and stunt and act like you got money when you really don't. It's easier to smoke weed and pop pills and have sex with whores and hate your brother and take his wife and sip lean than it is to do this. And if you one of them people, then by means, please turn off your station right now. You understand? Because you are not who I want. Right now, it's a means to an end. I want the influential men and women in Milwaukee to stand with the Lord. And those people right there, they'll be the ones to get you who have no clue on how to really live. You think living life is doing everything that your oppressors do. And you envy them so much. Give me envy not thy oppressors. Jeremiah 2:33, I believe. Is that it? You understand? You imitate these people so much, and you would love to do exactly what they do. As a matter of fact, don't even do that. Give me John 8:44. Like, you show who your forefathers in your mind really are. And these so-called white men are your daddy. These are the people that you look up to and say, I have to listen to them wholeheartedly because these are my people. When you look in the mirror, you don't even see something that you love. If you saw something that you love, you would never put blonde hair above that beautiful afro that you had.
Right.
You would never do it. It would make your skin boil. It would make your stomach curl up to ever want to look like the same race of people who murdered Botham John. That hair that black bailiff was rubbing and stroking is exactly why black women wear that blonde weave today. It's evident now. It's more than clear. It's crystal clear. It's excellently observed how we just hate ourselves. Black men, Sammy Sosa, bleaching his skin. T.I.'s wife, Tiny, getting an eye procedure because she didn't like her beautiful brown eyes. She didn't like that. She want them blue eyes because people with blue eyes win. In your mind, people with blue eyes run the goddamn planet. And you hate to be associated with a race of people that everyone hates. Those niggas. Those savage niggas. And those spicks. Those subhuman and native Indians. Savages. You hate yourself, man. Why don't you man, big up to you sisters who wear those afros. Who got it good for loving yourself and, beautifying yourself and accentuating your black tone and showing that black hair, that black foot, that black neck, that black hair, and them beautiful black lips. There's nothing on the planet more gorgeous than a black, Hispanic, or Native Indian woman in their natural state.
That's right.
At all. I promise you. Nothing more than a man in I.S.U.P.K wants than that. Read this.
This is the book of John, chapter 8 and verse 44.
Let's wipe some of this Christianity off of you because the Bible does not promote loving everybody in every race. Jesus Christ did not die for every race to get salvation. God does not love every race. God does not love sinners. He does not hear a sinner's prayer. So who are you really praying to? Who are you really worshiping? Integration is explicitly against the Bible. Read.
Ye are of your father, the devil.
Your daddy, your slave master. You ever seen the movie Django where the sister was like, Big Daddy, Big Daddy, to the slave master? That's your ass. You a slave just like that. That's exactly who you are. Your father, your big daddy, your daddy is the oppressors in America who descend from the same people who had your people that you descend from in the same hell. There was nothing that's going on today that wasn't going on back then. Lynching, hangings, rapings, emasculation, murdering of the black child, using you for alligator bait, making your women into whores, turning black men against other black men. It's the same thing. Read.
And the lust of your father.
And the what?
And the lust of your father.
The lust of your father, meaning these so-called oppressors in America, you know what they love to do? They love to be homosexual. And because they love to be homosexual, you love to be homosexual. There was a time in the black and Hispanic community where being a homosexual was shunned. You damn near lose your life for being a homosexual, and you had to keep it on the down low, which comes from the Christian church. The so-called black and Hispanic Christian churches they created a platform where being a homosexual could live in. It was more accepted than shunned. And those are the people who run for politicians in America. Those are your aldermen, those are your mayors, those are all of the black caucus, those are all of the Hispanic representatives. They are all Christians. And if you dare speak against homosexuality, they will excommunicate you. Well, we're not speaking to anybody who wants to still be a slave. Harriet Tubman said she'd have freed more slaves if only they knew they were slaves. We talking to the Underground Railroad. You understand? We talking to the people who hate America.
That's right.
We talking to the people who hate oppression, who are angry because they can't figure out how to beat the system that they hate so goddamn much. And in the Israelite School I.S.U.P.K, will make it very transparently clear on how to beat the oppressive system that America has given us for centuries. And it'll work best when all black Hispanics and Native Indians follow one leader. One leader. Democracy isn't working for us. Black people used to be Republicans, now black people are all Democrats, now black people are becoming socialists, and now it doesn't work for you. That is a system that white Romans put into play to rule the world. Which side of the Roman Empire would rule the world had nothing to do with you. You are a subject for Democrats. You are a subject for Republicans. All of them have the one common goal and interest, and that is white supremacy. They would never want you Negroes to rule the earth again because their history was not erased from them. Their history, they are still intact with. You understand? And guess what their history tells them? That during the Dark Ages, guess what? Niggas ruled over us. And white people are right about that. Black people ruled over their race and had them doing exactly what they have us doing today. Except we weren't raping them. And when they came before a court system or a court or a judge or a ruler or a lord, the justice was an equal balance. You understand? Yeah, we wasn't doing them like they do. We didn't give them crack. We didn't give them cocaine. We didn't erase their history of their fathers away from them. But they did do it to us. They did it to us. And that's so not what the Lord wanted them to do to us. You understand? The Lord is against that. The Lord said that this nation shall never be eradicated off the face of the earth. And I'm just paraphrasing the scripture. But the Lord never wants us to be eradicated off the earth until you see there's no more sun and no more moon. We'll never be gone. But what we will do is we will fall under curses. Child support is a curse. It's in Deuteronomy. Food stamps and welfare, those are curses, man. Those are all curses. You understand? Change the, if you could, do me a favor, change the camera angle and bring it down just a little bit. Bring it down just a little bit, oh, for sure. You understand? See what it looks like. Give it a second. Bring it down a bit more. That's fine. But it's kind of off. Gotta straighten it, center it again, if you could. That's the wide. That's good. So, let's get it. Let's get John 8:44. We're gonna ride through it. It's a lot of precepts that I gotta give to the city of Milwaukee because I know they think they knew the Bible, but now we're about to show them that they don't know. And the Bible, I know these people used this book to enslave us. I know they did. Don't get it twisted. I know they used this book to enslave us, right? They used it. But here's what you don't understand. They didn't use what was inside of the book to enslave us. They used what they said what was inside of the book that was not in the book. But they gave us the book because they know this book represents the one true power, the one true God, the one that actually split the Red Sea, the one that rose the people from the dead, that healed people from being blind and lame, and you understand, from being terminally ill and sick. This really happened. That chariots followed through the wilderness, and it really happened. But they used the gravity of that book, and guess what they did? Excuse me. They lied and gave you something called Christian dogma. And when they gave it to you, they didn't let you read the Bible. Like, black people were able to read. Don't get it twisted. You know, one of the most common things that they say is that we weren't able to read during slavery. That is not true. We were allowed to read during slavery. We knew how to read during slavery. What we were not allowed to do was to read the Bible during slavery. If you were caught reading the Bible, then your eyes were seared out of your head, and your tongue could have been cut, and you could have been castrated from your penis. You would have been gone, because they know once we read that Bible, we'll start to find out what Nat Turner found out, and many other people who led revolts in America read that Bible and found out that we are the children of Israel. We are. And the people who oppress us are Egyptians. They are Babylon. They are that whore that the Lord hates. They are the race that the Lord hates. And they started finding it out. But the problem is, you had sellout niggas then. We weren't on one accord with this. And I know it sounds good when Dr. Umar Johnson speaks. It sounds great. That's what you call a soothsayer. Sounds good when T.D. Jakes speaks. It's called a soothsayer. Sounds good when Noble Drew Ali was speaking. And who else? Dr. Sebi and Martin Luther King Jr. All of that sounded good. But none of it was backed by the Holy Scriptures of the Most High. None of it. None of it. Nobody has it right except the Israelite school of UPK. And let me tell you something. If you think we lying, make us prove ourselves.
Right.
Like, a lot of people just look at us and dismiss us and say, oh, them niggas crazy. Them niggas don't know what they talking about. They ain't really in the community like that. They don't really have prison programs. They don't have food drives. They not doing free classes. Put us to test. Put us to the test. As a matter of fact, anybody in Milwaukee that think they got a knowledge bigger than the knowledge of the Lord, you call me. You give me a call. Let's find out. And let's let Milwaukee determine who's the best leader for Milwaukee. Let's let the people determine after we free them from the damn enslavement of Christianity. Read.
This is the book of John.
From the top.
Come. This is the book of John, chapter 8 and verse 44. Ye are of your father, the devil.
Man, I love this book. I love my job. I love the oath that I gave to the Lord. I love my people so much. But these type of people, read.
And the lust of your father ye will do.
It's not talking about the Most High. It's talking about who's the Father?
And the lust of your father.
Who is their father? Ye are of who?
Your father ye will do.
No, ye are of your father who?
Ye are of your father the devil.
That's what I want. Ye are of your father the liar. Ye are of your father the deceiver. You are of your father the schemer. You are of your father the slick, slimy serpent type of being, human being. That's who you want to be of. You are of your father the devil. The word devil just means liar or deceiver. It has nothing to do with the fictitious character that they made that's all red with the tail that has a pitchfork at the point of it, that has a point at the point of it and a pitchfork in his hand with horns. That is a fairy tale. And it's a cartoon that they gave black people because they know black people will accept whatever it is that they want to accept. But let me tell you something. In Cleveland, we're going to have a lecture given by Captain LeBun.
That's right.
And it's called The Book of the Black God. To show you that this book right here got a black God in it. And it ain't the white God that they told you was in this book. It ain't the white God that they put in Hollywood. You understand? It's not the white God that they give you and serve you up on a platter every day and you eat them talking about this is his body. It's really a little piece of cracker. And ain't it ironic that they give you crackers to eat?
Come.
You understand? This is ironic that they give you crackers to eat at church. This is the body of a what? Of a cracker? No. If anything, they should give you a Ritz. They should give you a brown cracker. Instead, they give you a white cracker. Man, these devils are so damn cunning when it comes to warfare. Straight up. But that's not the body of Christ. The body of Christ is not a cracker. The body of Christ, the blood of Christ is not wine. The blood of Christ is exactly what the men in Israelite school of UPK give every damn day. The blood of Christ is that. The body of Christ is exactly that. We share in exactly what Christ told us to share in. And that's the pain that it comes from taking your people from being out of the hands of their oppressors and bring their allegiance back to the Most High and serve their rightful king, which is a black man, a nigger named Jesus Christ, Yahushua Mashiach in the Hebrew. Anything that I'm saying can be validated. Anything that I'm saying can be backed up. Read.
Ye are of your father, the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do.
You'll do it. If these people are legalized, and listen, Obama was not a black man. He was not a black president. He was an African. And sorry to tell you, black people in America, you Negroes, you colored, you are not African. Yes, they got us from the continent of Africa, but we did not originate in Africa whatsoever. That was not our place of origin. And the land of Israel is not in Africa. It's just not. I'm sorry. It's about as much African as Mexico is America. You understand? So let me help you understand. Read.
He was a murderer from the beginning.
He was a what?
A murderer from the beginning.
Man, all of these people are murderers from the beginning. Everything that they set up murders black people. And now they set up systems, programs, propaganda, brainwashing, mind control that literally makes black men hate each other. And now they don't really have to do all the killing. You might find a story here, might find a story there, and blah, blah, blah. But black men are killing each other at an alarming rate. Why in the hell would police stop killing? By the end of this class, I'm gonna give you solutions on how to stop black violence. And I learned it from Commanding General Yahanna. You understand? Commanding General Yahanna should replace Louis Farrakhan.
That's right.
In your minds, he should replace Martin Luther King Jr. In your mind, he should replace and eradicate every mega church, Christian pastor, T.D. Jakes, Creflo Dollar, Joel Osteen. All of them need to be removed from their seat of power. Period. That's it on that. Now, let's get back to this judge. Let's get back to this judge, please. Quickly.
Khan. A Dallas judge said Monday she would not and could not refuse giving a hug and a Bible to the former police officer.
Now, to give her a Bible though, to give her a Bible too, I wish she read that Bible how she should. Because if she read that Bible, she's gonna know that God is definitely not on her side, like nationwide. Read.
She had just sentenced to 10 years behind bars for killing an unarmed neighbor.
An unarmed neighbor. This is a neighbor that you think Christ said you got to love? No. Problem is, because of integration, there was a time in America where there were black neighborhoods, black and Hispanic neighborhoods, and then there were white neighborhoods. And if you telling me that they gave us this false doctrine out of the Bible talking about that you have to love your neighbor, right? Well, back in the time that the original Baptists, who were the KKK, had brought this false doctrine out, you want to know who their neighbor was? They would never allow a Hispanic or a black man to live in their neighborhoods ever. So you know what their neighbor looked like, right? Their neighbor looked like themselves. The white man's neighbor is a white man. Now that integration has happened and affirmative action and diversification is now, prominent in America, it's become the actual daughter of Babylon. Guess what? Now your neighbor could very well be a white person. You understand? It could very well be an Indian. It could very well, when I say Indian, I mean East Indian. It could very well be an Arab. Could very well be Chinese. Your roommate could be Chinese. All of this, you never know. But that's not how it was at first. When the world was segregated before America. And even America was segregated before the United States that you see today. And let me help you understand something else. Even today, I know this might blow your mind, but even today, America is segregated. And everyone knows that. That's why they know about the suburbs and the urban area. And they just use different names for it. Suburban areas are predominantly white. Urban in the city areas are predominantly black and Hispanic. And then on the outskirts or in between, you have the Asians and the Arabs and the East Indians and all these other nations that set up around you. And you didn't even realize that your demographics are completely segregated. Even when it comes to services, public works do a better job in white neighborhoods than they do in black neighborhoods. It's a fact. You can go from the north side of Milwaukee, the outskirts of Milwaukee. You can go from there in the suburban areas and watch how clean it is. I drove down the street when I first ever got to Milwaukee, and I saw where all of the Jewish white people live at, all of the uppity up white people live at. And when I saw it, it was big houses. I'm talking about houses so big they are all mansions. They all have more than 6 rooms in them, damn near 3 bathrooms in them. You understand what I'm saying? Basement, attic, everything, big backyard. Those are damn near mansions or manors. And the neighborhood is so clean. The grass is clean, it's cut, there's no litter in the yard, none of that. You see these people riding their bikes, and you see them jogging around the neighborhood. You see them walking their dogs, pushing their baby carriages, and they feel so